basically secrete enzyme, and these enzymes are transported with the help of a tube or pipe, or we call it duct, right? So that's why they are called gland with a duct. Duct means tube, right? For sake of example, liver is an exocrine gland. So it is secreting enzyme. We have already studied it that the liver secretes bile juice. So for the secretion of bile juice, there is a particular kind of the duct. This duct is called bile duct. With the help of bile duct, it secretes bile into small intestine, right? So from the source to the target organ, there is a pipe, and that pipe drop this chemical at that point. But endocrine gland do not work like this way. Endocrine gland, you can see this is the endocrine gland. Endocrine gland do not have any duct, so they are basically called ductless gland. So endocrine glands are ductless gland. What they do, they secrete the hormone, not the enzyme. So basically, hormone secreting glands are endocrine gland, and that's why we call this system endocrine gland, right? Yeah, endocrine system, right? So they secrete their product directly into the blood. For sake of example, there is a hormone which is secreted from our pituitary gland, which is present in our brain. Pituitary will secrete that hormone into the blood. That hormone will circulate across the body with our blood. It will go everywhere in heart, in liver. So suppose that this hormone is meant for kidney. It have to work. Its target organ is kidney. So it will keep on circulating everywhere. It will not show its function anywhere. It will exclusively show its function at its target organ, that is called kidney, right? So that's how the hormone works. So all the hormones remains dissolved with our blood. So this kind of the gland are called endocrine gland. So basically, in the nutshell, we can say that enzyme secreting glands are exocrine gland, and hormone secreting glands are endocrine, right? Further, the endocrine gland, yes, Arpit, any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, the duct which carries the bile, sir, isn't that called a cystic duct?
Look, there are cystic duct, not this bile duct, basically. The cystic duct term we use when it bring from the bile juice, it bring from liver to the this one gallbladder, right? So that duct is called cystic duct. Then when it arises from the when it collect that from the gallbladder to the small intestine, this is called bile duct, and bile duct do not directly fuse over there, right? So before it fuses with the this small intestine, there is a, I have discussed that thing in the digestive system. There is a one more duct that is called pancreatic duct. Both fuses, and after that, this is called hepatopancreatic duct, and where it fuses, that is called hepatopancreatic ampulla. So that is the whole summary, right?
Okay, sir.
Again, endocrine gland have been divided into two parts, right? Holocrine gland and heterocrine. Fine. Holocrine gland and heterocrine gland. So what are the holocrine glands? There are certain glands which have exclusively their dedicated function for the secretion of hormone. They do not do any other work. They are meant for secreting the hormone, right? Those kind of the glands, so exclusively they have the single function, that is the secretion of the hormone, right? Like pituitary. Pituitary do not do other function. So these kind of the glands are known as pituitary gland. But there are certain glands which have other than, there are some other functions as well. Means other than secretion of the hormone, there are some other functions as well, right? These glands are known as the heterocrine, right? For example, they secrete hormone as well as they have some other function. So let's discuss with the help of enzyme. For sake of example, pancreas. We have discussed the pancreas in digestive system as well. So pancreas secrete insulin hormone, glucagon hormone, right? So all these hormones, both our hormones are secreted from the pancreas. That is endocrine function. But along with that, pancreas have certain cells. They are responsible for secret cells of Purkinje. They secrete the enzyme as well. So pancreas have two functions: enzyme secretion as well as hormone secretion. So this is heterocrine gland, because other than hormone secretion is it have other functions as well. The same with the ovary. Ovary release the egg, production of egg take place and release the egg. In the same time, estrogen and progesterone are the hormone which is secreted from the ovary. So ovary have two functions, right? So these kind of the gland which have other function also other than secretion of the hormone, they are called heterogland. Is that clear? Remember, heterocline gland have been asked. This question is important, right? I think it should be clear to all of you. Okay.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
okay. One more, William M. Ballas and Ernest H. Starling, they discovered the hormone. They are the people who are responsible for discovering these hormones, right?
Sir, all endocrine glands are holocrine.
All endocrine. No, no, no. Like pancreas, pancreas is endocrine gland. It's a heterocrine gland. Ovary is a endocrine gland. It's heterocrine gland.
Okay.
So some are heterocrine, some are holocrine. Types of endocrine. So this diagram is only for you to understand that what is the position of the particular. Why? Because the position of thymus gland have been asked, right? I have seen the question. They have asked the position of thymus gland, position of parathyroid gland. So position of these two glands have already been asked in the medical examination. So this diagram is meant for, you need not to learn the number of the hormone and all that from here. You have to just understand the position of the gland. So I have numbered them. So the first gland which we need to understand, that is the hypothalamus gland. Hypothalamus gland is found in the upper part of the middle brain, right? Then second number is pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is called master gland. Try to understand me. Pituitary gland is called master gland, right? It control all the rest of gland of the body, all the gland, either thymus, liver, thymus, stomach, pancreas, adrenal, kidney, and all that, right? All the glands are under the control of pituitary, right? So pituitary is like a king. Just a minute. Pituitary is like a king. Okay. So pituitary is a that is called master gland. This is a master gland. Then there is a hypothalamus gland. So hypothalamus gland is a gland which controls the pituitary gland, right? How? Actually, hypothalamus gland work as a secretary of this pituitary gland, right? So it suggests what to do, what not to do. Finally, the order will be taken by the pituitary gland. Try to understand. So hypothalamus gland, it work on the basis of, it is called supreme commander of the uh, pituitary and all that. There are a number of the names. So we'll discuss this gland separately. So what hypothalamus? Suppose that a person have eaten something and after some time digestion completed and the high amount of the sugar is there in the blood, right? So the person may be diabetic. He or she will become diabetic. So what will happen? Pituitary gland uh, have to give the order, but hypothalamus gland will come to know that there is a high amount of the sugar in blood. Try to understand. Pituitary hypothalamus gland got the information that there is a high amount of the sugar in the blood and it need to be controlled. Hypothalamus will give this information to the pituitary and ask pituitary to order pancreas. On the suggestion of hypothalamus, pituitary will order to pancreas to release insulin. Pancreas will release insulin and the sugar will be controlled. When the sugar will come to the balance, if the insulin will keep on secreting, the person will become like there will be hypo situation of the, means less amount of the sugar. So that will be, means the sugar level will go below the normal level. So when hypothalamus will come to know that sugar have been controlled, Then again, it will take feedback from the body and it will give this feedback to pituitary and ask pituitary to switch off the pancreas. Pituitary will give the order to switch off the insulin secretion to pancreas, right? So all the orders are given by the pituitary, but pituitary gives order on the suggestion of hypothalamus gland, and hypothalamus gland give order on the basis of feedback from the body. So we say that hypothalamus gland work on the feedback mechanism. This is called feedback mechanism. Is it clear or not? Tell me.
Yes,
Clear?
sir.
Okay, great. So that is the role of hypothalamus. Then there is a third gland in the brain. It is also found in the middle brain part. This is called pineal gland. Then at the neck region, there is a thyroid gland. And behind this gland, there are 4 parathyroid glands. So thyroid gland and parathyroid gland both are found in the neck at the same, this part, right? Below the thyroid gland at the sternum, at the top of the sternum, means manubrium part, there is a thymus. The stomach, I do not consider as gland because we have already discussed gastrin and all that. Liver, yes. Then there is a adrenal gland, 7. Adrenal gland are found at the top of the kidney. Then kidney is itself a gland because kidney also secretes some hormone. Then there is a pancreas. Then ovary in female and testis in male. Right. So these are the glands which are found in these positions of our body. Let's discuss one by one everything. Let's start with the hypothalamus itself. Okay, hypothalamus, pituitary, or pineal gland. Okay. Hypothalamus gland. Hypothalamus gland secretes some hormone. So hypothalamus is called control center of supreme commander. I have discussed with you why it is called control center of supreme commander, right? Because it controls the pituitary, right? So pituitary gland control lies in the hypothalamus itself. Again, this upper part, this front part is pituitary basically, right? And this is hypothalamus. Whatever the hormone are synthesized in hypothalamus are not secreted from hypothalamus. Basically, they are secreted by the posterior lobe of pituitary. So this is pituitary gland, this upper part, this is pituitary gland. This is anterior lobe of pituitary, this is the posterior lobe of pituitary. And between them, there is an intermediate lobe. So we have divided pituitary into 3 parts basically. It secretes neurohormones, the hormones which control brain. The hormones which are secreted by it, they are the corticotropin releasing hormone, thyrotropin releasing hormone. Releasing hormone will ask to release particular gland. Thyrotropin releasing, growth hormone releasing hormone means growth hormone releasing hormone will go and they will ask pituitary gland to release growth hormone, right? Gonadotropin releasing hormone, prolactin releasing hormone, prolactin inhibiting hormone will switch off the gland. MSH releasing hormone, MSH inhibiting hormone. These hormones are secreted from here, right? So basically, its function is to control the pituitary. Now, what happened? The hormones which are secreted by the hypothalamus, they are basically secreted by the pituitary gland. So manufacturing takes place in hypothalamus, but hypothalamus itself do not secrete any hormone. For example, AVP, oxytocin. I'll discuss with you what is their function. AVP, oxytocin, they are secreted by the pituitary gland, but they are manufactured in hypothalamus. For the rest of the hormones are secreted by the anterior. Now come to the pituitary gland.
Where FSH is released by the anterior or the
FSH is released by this one, anterior pituitary, follicle stimulating hormone. Then PR, prolactin hormone. ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. So we are discussing all these hormones here. Now pituitary gland.
Sir, is AVP and ADH the same?
Vasopressin and ADH, they are almost same. There is a very minute difference between. Actually, ADH is responsible for the concentration of the urine. It saves the water, but vasopressin also work as a ADH, but vasopressin is responsible for constriction of the leg. Indirectly it works. Vasopressin is responsible for the contraction of the uterus. It also help in the birth, right?
Okay, sir.
During the parturition time, we have discussed in the reproduction part, human reproduction. During the parturition, means birth of child, right? And it also help in the dilating the vessels and all that. So it have indirect function, but almost in the nutshell they do the same function. So anterior pituitary, it releases the growth hormone or somatotropin, responsible for the growth of body. Thyrotropin stimulating hormone or thyrotropin. So that go and stimulate the thyrotropin hormone. ACTH, adenocorticotropin hormone, prolactin hormone, mammotropin hormone, that is responsible for releasing of the milk when a female become a mother. Gonadotropin releasing hormone, responsible for the release of the sex hormone. Example, FSH and LH, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing, right? And we have discussed all the function of FSH and LH in human reproduction part. Hormone from intermediary lobe. So from the intermediate lobe of the pituitary, the melanotropin hormones are secreted. And melanocyte is their melanocyte stimulating hormone. What is their function? What is the melanotropin? Anyone? Any idea?
Circadian rhythm.
Sorry?
So the circadian rhythm of the body.
Circadian rhythm. This is not, that is from the pineal gland. That is, this is the
So this is for
exactly,
melanocytes in the skin.
exactly. Very good, excellent. So this is for the secretion of the melanin. Melanin give color to our skin, right? The amount of the melanin will be more, then our skin will be dark color, and if the melanin will be less, then our skin is of white color. I have a question for you. A very practical kind of a question. Why the African people, they have the dark skin complex, but if you will from the Africa, if you will travel to the northern pole, they have the very white skin, and the Asians have the intermediate color of the skin. So what is the reason behind that? If you know the function of melanin, then you will tell me. Means the people with dark color skin, they have more melanin in their body. The people with brighter skin or light color skin, they have the white color skin, they have the least melanin. Look, African continent. So what is the function of melanin? You must have seen that sunsock, sunburn, and all that. Suppose that these are the summer, right? Temperature is very high here, right? In northern plain, right? If I travel with my bike with a t-shirt and traveling whole day in the field, in field work, so in the evening, what will happen? The part of the my hand which are covered with the t-shirt, they will be of lighter color, and the part of the hand which were exposed, they will have darker color. So what happened? Basically, the part of the body which is exposed to the light, melanin, sun rays fall, sun rays have ultraviolet rays. Our body secrete melanin to protect us from the ultraviolet B, right? So if there will be more ultraviolet B rays, the more melanin will be secreted to protect our body. Else, if melanin will not be secreted, then what can happen? It can cause the skin cancer, right? So melanin protect our body from the harmful ultraviolet rays, right? And it gives darker color to the African continent. The sun rays fall directly, right? That's why the temperature is high. Intensity of ultraviolet is high. That's why temperature is high, intensity of ultraviolet is high. That's why more melanin is secreted over here, over there, and the people are of darker skin. In the pole, the sun rays fall slantly. There are slant sun rays, right? Obliquely they fall. Ultraviolet intensity is low, very low. Temperature is very low. Due to that, melanin is secreted less, and that's why they are of white color, right? And we Asians of intermediate of both of these two, that's why we have the intermediate color of this thing, right? Neither too dark nor too black, white. Okay, so that is the function of melanin. Melanin is a protein. It's a protein. It is its function. So remember the expansion. Now the hormone secreted from the posterior lobe of the pituitary, right? Pituitary hormone. Pituitary hormone there are two kind of the hormone which come under the pituitary, right? So all the hormone which are secreted from the posterior lobe of the pituitary lobe. So they are called pituitary hormone. They are manufactured in the hypothalamus, but they are secreted from the posterior lobe. Oxytocin and vasopressin, right? Look, oxytocin is milk ejecting hormone. I have already told you, and contraction of uterus during the uterine muscles during the birth. Again, vasopressin and ADH, right? Vasopressin, ADH is responsible for protecting our body during the scarcity of the water, right? It reduces the rate of the urine formation. Vasopressin also do the same thing, but vasopressin also have one more characteristic, the same which is oxytocin. It helps during the birth of a child by the contraction of uterus, right? That we have already discussed in the human reproduction part. Pineal gland. So pineal gland is also known as the epiphysis, right? Its weight is 0.1 to 0.2 gram. The weight, remember, because weight have been asked in exam once, I have seen a question. That's why I have incorporated the weight of pineal gland. Then it secretes melatonin hormone, right? So what is the difference? This is melatonin hormone and this is melanotropin hormone. Yeah. So what is the melatonin hormone? Melatonin hormone induces the sleep. Pineal gland is a light sensitive gland, right? It do not work in the presence of light. It work only in the absence of light, means it's dark. That's why when we have to sleep, we do not sleep why like we switch off the light, then we sleep. Normally, I'm talking about the normal people. There are some like extraordinary super male or super female. They can sleep anywhere. They can sleep even in the sunlight, right? They can sleep even the very high density of light. They can sleep anywhere. So I'm not talking about those super male or females. I'm talking about the normal human people, normal peoples. So normal human being, what they do, they cannot sleep without the switch of light, or else they put some cloth and all that, some protective things to hide their eyes, right, so that they could go into sleep. So what happened when light is not there? Then pineal gland become active and start secreting the melatonin hormone. Melatonin hormone is sleeping hormone. It induces the sleep in our body, and again, it controls the biological clock, right? That is the circadian cycle or circadian. That is the schedule of 24 hours. Means we sleep in the night, we wake up at the morning, right? So those all kind of the schedule there, that is called biological clock. That is also controlled by uh, this pineal gland, right? So you must have listened a term means jet lag. Have you listened that jet lag?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so jet lag is basically caused by this one. Suppose that I am traveling from India to America, USA. There is a just opposite day. We are in the opposite part of the globe. When I will cross the international date line, what will happen? When there is a day, there will be a night. So what will happen? My biological clock means my pineal gland have been set up on the basis of India, right? So what I will do, I will become eager to teach you in the daytime, on an evening time, right? But there will be night, right? So on that time, I won't be able to sleep, right? So for next 15 or 17 days, my biological clock will get disturbed. It will reset, right? So jet lag is caused by the pineal gland because of the resetting of the pineal gland. Go through with it and tell me if you have any doubt. So remember the pineal gland, oxytocin, vasopressin. They have been asked frequently, both hormones. FSH and H, no, they are not that many important. Prolactin have been asked many times.
You can explain the function of prolactin again.
Prolactin, okay, I'll explain again you for. The function of prolactin, actually prolactin is not secreted in the normal female. What happened when women give birth to a child, prolactin starts secreting, and prolactin activate the mammary gland, and it is responsible for the production of milk in mammary gland, right? And one more hormone that support the prolactin, oxytocin. Oxytocin help in ejection of the milk from the mammary gland, right? So oxytocin and this hormone prolactin, they both are responsible for secretion of the milk from, so that newly formed mother, it could feed its young one, right? And when the lactation period is there, one more important thing, when the lactation period is there, means until the prolactin is getting secreted or oxytocin is getting secreted, means lactation period, the mother is feeding to its child. For that time period, the menstrual cycle is stopped. Ovulation do not take during the lactation time, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Thyroid gland, very, very important. Thyroid gland and adrenal gland, two glands are very important. You will get question from these, the gland which I told you, right? Vasopressin, oxytocin, and all these kind of the hormone. Then the next most asked question are from this gland, then from the adrenal gland. So these three glands are very important. You can't miss that. Fine. So there is a thyroid cartilage, and in the front part of thyroid cartilage, there is this pink color structure known as thyroid gland. Thyroid gland have two kind of the structure or two kind of the cell. The first kind of the cell, they are called C cells, and another kind of the cells, another kind of the structure, they are called thyroid follicle. Right? The C cell, they secrete thyrocalcitonin. Right? C cells, there is a group of cells. C cells, they secrete thyrocalcitonin, and there are these cells are called thyroid follicle or thyroid vesicles. Thyroid follicles remain filled with a fluid inside it, right? These thyroid, this fluid is called thyroxine hormone. Thyroxine is combination of T3 and T4. Means it is made up of two kind of the hormone. T3 is triiodothyronine and T4 is tetraiodothyronine, right? So thyroxine is a combination of triiodothyronine and tetraiodothyronine, right? What is their function? They control the metabolic rate of the body, means they increase the metabolic rate of the body. They are responsible for the protein synthesis. They are responsible for the mental development, mental faculty development. They help, they are responsible for the heat production and maintain the body temperature. They, the action of neurotransmitter, right? So they control the neurotransmitter as well. That is the action of thyroxine. What is the thyrocalcitonin? Thyrocalcitonin lower the calcium level in the blood, right? Whenever we eat the calcium compound, so calcium level increases in the blood. It take out the extra calcium from the blood and deposit it into the brain. That's how it control the extra calcium which is found in our blood, right? And it suppress the releasing of the calcium ion from the bone, right? So it do not allow extra calcium to go in the blood. It controls the level of the calcium in the blood. Tell me, is it clear or not? If you have any doubt, ask.
Clear, sir.
There are certain defect or diseases that cause due to either oversecretion or undersecretion. So hypersecretion and hyposecretion both are very harmful. So hyperthyroidism, hyper means secretion then more than it is required. Hyperthyroidism, that is called hyperthyroidism. It causes exophthalmic goiter or grave disease, exophthalmia or protrusion of eyeball. Give me one second. Let me show you a diagram if I have, because you must have seen these people. So look, uh, this is the situation of exophthalmia. And look, what is exophthalmia? Exophthalmia is protrusion of eyeball. It seems that the eyeballs are coming out, right? So they will bulge out. So this is called exophthalmia, right? And again, what is the goiter? Goiter is caused due to deficiency of the uh, iodine, right, or deficiency of the thyroxine, right? So you can see this is the goiter when this neck part becomes swell, right? So this is the exophthalmia. So this is called exophthalmic goiter or grave disease, right? Hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism causes two things. Keratinism, that is very important. I have made a star over here. Keratinism will basically do not affect the older one. Keratinism basically affect the young ones, right? So infant, it causes slow body growth, reduction of metabolic rate, means the person will become slow, stunned growth, and pigeon chest. The chest will come out and the stunned growth. The person will be short, and retarded sexual development. This is called cretinism. And cretinism basically it affect the uh, infants. The another disease, that is the simple goiter. In simple goiter, by it causes by the deficiency of iodine. In this disease, thyroid enlargement takes place. So thyroid gets swell and neck part gets swell. Neck part gets swell and thyroid enlargement takes place. So that is called hypothyroidism. Is that clear? Ask me if you have. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is very important gland. Go through with it and cram it. Now parathyroid gland. They are also important, but they are not. So this is the uh, ventral side of the parasite, means back side of the parathyroid gland. Right. This red color structure is parathyroid, the thyroid gland, and the back side structure, this is parathyroid gland. Right. These yellow color structure are parathyroid. So thyroid gland we have studied, and parathyroid gland, they are made up of two kind of the cells, Keep cells and oxophil cells. The function of oxophil cells is still not known. What is their function? But Keep cells, they secrete parath hormone or parathyroid hormone, PTH, or it is also known as the Polyps hormone. All these three are the same, right? Uh, Parathyroid gland, they control the calcium and phosphate between the blood and their tissue, right? Calcium reabsorbed from the nephron, and the calcium is absorbed from the nephron. So inhibit the phosphate reabsorption from the kidney, and it rises the calcium level. So parathyroid gland have the opposite function of which hormone? Parathyroid Which hormone? Calcitonin.
Calcitonin.
Yeah, very good. Get good, Bhatta. Calcitonin hormone. So both have the opposite function. That you need to remember. Parathyroid disorder. Hypoparathyroidism and hyper. Hypo means less secretion. Hyper means more secretion. In hypoparathyroidism means when there will be less secretion. That called the lowering of the blood in the calcium. It decreases the blood calcium. Parathyroid tetany. It causes the parathyroid tetany. Right? Means the muscles will get jammed, or it is also known as the hypocalcemic tetany. Right? Muscle will do not work. And you know, when there is a less calcium level in the, we have studied in the last class only. If there will be less calcium, then the sarcoplasmic reticulum that was there in the muscles, sarcoplasmic reticulum will not release the calcium, and if the calcium will not be released, muscle will get jumped. That is called parathyroid tetany, right? Hyperparathyroidism. What will happen? Hyper, if more secretion. Hyperparathyroidism will causes the osteoporosis. Means in osteoporosis, that is a softening of blood. Softening of bone. I'm sorry, softening of bone. Bone will become the porous. They will break easily, and there will that will take more time to get to join them. Right. Then kidney stone. Two things are caused by the hyperparathyroidism. Got it? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now thymus gland. Thymus gland. A question have been asked with both of the thymus gland. Uh, the gland, which of the following gland have is smaller at the birth time? It becomes larger at the middle age, and uh, it disappears at the old age. Tell me the name of that gland. So that kind of the question I have seen. This is from the thymus gland. So basically, thymus gland at the time of the birth, the weight of the gland is 10 to 15 grams. When a person become age of puberty, it will become 30 to 40 grams. When at the mid adult age, 10 grams. In the old age, it gets disappeared. Some of the scientists think that this gland is also responsible for the aging, right? Because of this gland, aging comes, right? So this gland is responsible for the aging, right? Thymus gland secreted thymosin hormone that is responsible for the WBC development, and it maintains the immunity of the right. So this is the function of thymus gland. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. This one, the next very important gland after the thyroid gland, adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is made up of two layer. We divide it into two layers, right? The outer part, this outermost part, this is called adrenal cortex, and the outermost part is called capsule. Then the below this capsule, the outermost part is called cortex, and middle part is called medulla, right? Further, so we divide the adrenal gland into two parts: adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla, right? Adrenal cortex is further divided into three parts, right? So what are those parts? Zona glomerulosa, right? So outermost part, that is glomerulosa, glomerulosa, zona glomerulosa, and zona fasciculata, fasciculata. Then there is zona reticularis. So further it is divided into three parts, right? Then the middle part is called adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex, out of this adrenal cortex, the zona glomerulosa, that is the outer part, it secretes the mineralocorticoid that control the balance of the minerals in our body. The name of mineralocorticoid means mineralocorticoid is a group of hormones. Name of those mineralocorticoids is aldosterone and cortisol. Then the next layer is called middle layer, that is called zona fasciculum. It secretes the glucocorticoid, right? Example of glucocorticoid, 95% of them are cortisol and cortisone. What is their function? In liver, they ask liver to synthesize carbohydrate. They increase the glucose in blood. Means their function is, try to understand, the function of cortisol and cortisone is opposite to the insulin, right? Let me write it down. Opposite to insulin, right? Then they increase the amino acid in blood. They have anti-insulin effect. The effect is that same thing. They are immunosuppressive. They suppress our immune system. They increase the RBC and decrease the WBC. And they are also known as the stress hormone. They all are the question. That's why I have made the star one, right? Cortisol and cortisol. Then third layer is called zona reticularis. Zona reticularis secrete androgens, testosterone and progesterone in female. They are sex hormone. In male, androgen is testosterone. Female, androgen is estrogen. Right? Disorder. So first disorder is addiction disease. Deficiency of mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid. It causes tuberculosis, low blood sugar, increase the sodium level in urine. That is called addiction. Adrenal virilism. Excess of androgen in female called causes adrenal virilism. Gynecomastia. Excess of estrogen in male. Mammary gland development take place in the males. Because of this, that is called gynecomastia. Right. So when mammary gland develop in the male. Right. Adrenal medulla, then the middle part, it secretes two hormones, norepinephrine or noradrenaline, that control the blood pressure. Epinephrine and adrenaline, that is called emergency hormone. It is cardiovascular, it controls the heart rate, right? So that is the function of epinephrine and norepinephrine, or adrenaline or noradrenaline, right? Go through with it and tell me if you have any doubt. And tell me if it's clear to all of you. Clear to all? Next hormone is pancreas. Sorry, next gland is pancreas. Pancreas, we have already understood its exocrine function in the digestive system. In this diagram, you can see the spleen. You will hardly get spleen, the diagram of spleen in any gland. Fortunately, this is there, so try to understand. The spleen is found just above the pancreas, and it is known as the blood bank, and it is also called the graveyard of RBC. Why? All the RBC after death, they goes to the spleen, and a spleen break down all these RBC and hemoglobin and all, right? Then what happened that spleen also store some RBC, so it is also known as the blood bank. There are two kind of the cell: pancreatic islets and islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans, they secrete a hormone that is called insulin. And pancreatic isolate, they secrete. There are three kinds of cells: alpha cell, beta cell, and delta cell. So isolate of Langerhans or pancreatic isolate. So they have delta cell. Delta cell secretes somatotropin that is responsible for the growth. Alpha cell, it secretes glucagon that convert glycogen into glucose. Beta cell secrete insulin that convert glucose into glycogen. So that you have to remember. Remember that thing. This question frequently asked question: which cell secrete which hormone? Disorder. So first disorder is diabetes mellitus. Diabetes, both diabetes are very important. Number of the time the question came from here, both of the diabetes. So diabetes mellitus is called hyperglycemia. Hyper means more, glycemia means glucose. So when the level of glucose increases, that is called hyperglycemia, and hyperglycemia is known as the diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is the common diabetes which is found everywhere when the blood sugar increases, and this is the nowadays it's a very common disease, right? This disease can be uh, this disease can be of because of two reasons: either insufficient insulin is secreted, and second, uh, healing in this here the healing power get impaired, right? So, or second reason of diabetes mellitus, that the glucose is not it is not shifted to the liver, right? That is also the reason behind the diabetes mellitus. Hypoglycemia, low blood sugar level. So blood glucose level falls down due to excess of insulin, right? When the insulin increases, the deficiency of glucose takes place, right? Is that clear? Both diabetes clear? Hypoglycemia is more dangerous than hyperglycemia. In hyperglycemia, when diabetes or sugar level increase too much, that is also fatal. Person will die because that causes multi-organ failure. Means the you must have seen a diabetic person have very high diabetic and someday collapsed suddenly. So what happened when diabetes become uncontrolled, sugar level become uncontrolled? It goes to every organ, it damages every organ. All organs get failed in a time. That is called multi-organ failure, and the person dies. Then hypoglycemia, that is low blood sugar level. This is more dangerous. In low blood sugar, uh, if the sugar level is below the critical amount, the person may die immediately. That happen in a case of sometimes the old people who take insulin themselves, right? Sometimes they take insulin and they forget, and they take twice or thrice insulin, and because of they die because of hypoglycemia. Glucose level gets very down, right? So that is hypoglycemia's glucose level falls down due to there are two reasons: due to excess of insulin, either insulin is secreted in excess or deficiency of glucose. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Testis and ovary we have discussed in detail, but again, we have discussed that there are the seminiferous tubules. Between the seminiferous tubules, there are leading cells or interstitial cell, and these interstitial cells, they secrete androgens, that is called testosterone, right? And we know that testosterone is responsible for controlling the male feature. In the same time, female female estrogen is secreted from Graafian follicle, progesterone from corpus luteum, relaxin from the corpus luteum, inhibin and actin that is secreted uh, that control the FSH and GnRH. FSL is follicle stimulating hormone, and GnRH is gonadotropin releasing hormone. Right? They all are secreted from the ovary. Right? Relaxin, it relax the muscles of the uterus during the birth. It helps in the birth. Progesterone control the uh, endomet- uh, endometrium of the menstrual cycle during menstrual cycle, and estrogen that is responsible for the uh, milk formation. Right. Is that clear? We have already discussed these things in detail.
Yes, sir.
Last but not the least, that is the action of hormone. How does the hormone function? How does these hormone or steroids hormone they function? How does they work? These steroid hormones are released in the blood. A particular cell where it have to function have receptor. It recognizes these hormones. This receptor, this is known as the receptor protein. Receptor protein take that steroid hormone and make a complex. That complex goes inside the nucleus through the nuclear pore, right? And when it goes to the nuclear pore, this hormone receptor complex, it attaches with the DNA. It causes transcription. Then transcription, that is, it have the mRNA. That transcription that causes the translation, means the formation of the protein. New protein formation takes place, and this protein then come out of the plasma. Right. That's how the hormone action work, or that's how the hormone perform their action. So this was all about the endocrine system. Go through with your NCRT in the next 2-3 minutes and ask me if you have any question in this chapter, please. And let me know if you have any doubt. Go through with your NCRT, please, right now. So, no doubt. Tell me, guys. So what is the next? We have completed with the animal physiology part. So human physiology, in fact, we did it, and chemical control. So we have to start with the plant family, right? So in biology, we have to start the morphology. So there are plant family and cell biology and animal and plant classification. These things are left. So let's start with the plant family part, right? So, and I'll ask you to revise it. In case still if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. So let's start with the morphology part. Plant. First. Yes, morphology of flying plant. So morphology of flowering plant, we must have studied in class 11. Here you know that there the most of the question come from the family, and there are three families: Solanaceae, Papilionidae, and Liliaceae. So there are two families of from the dicot and two family from the monocot. So first, try to understand the general formula, or what is the plant family formula, or what is the general formula. So we need to understand first thing. Try to understand. So let's start with the plant family or morphology. In morphology part, the part of the plant which is found above to the ground, that is called shoot system, right? So this upper part, this is called shoot system. In shoot system, it contain stem, it contain fruit, it contain internode, it contain node from where the branches, leaves, leaves and flower arise, and there are terminal bud which stop the growth of the plant. This is inflorescence where the flowers are arranged, right? There is the axillary bud from where the branches come out. And a root system, there is a main root that is called primary root. Then there are further secondary root and tertiary, right? So branches and leaves always come out of the node. You must have seen the grasses and the bamboo. This part is called internode, right? And at every node, these in sugarcane, in maize, at every node they bear some buds, right? From where the new leaves or new branches come. We say that potato is the stem. Why the potato is the stem? Basically, these structure which are known as the eye. So what we call these structure eye. Eye are basically nothing. Eye are basically a type of uh, they are a type of node, right? The space between two nodes is known as the internode, right? And leaves come out of this node. Part of flower, right? So what is the flower? Can anybody define what is the flower? Anyone of you? Marita, what is flower?
So the reproductive part
Sir.
of the plant.
Sorry, yes. Please be a bit loud. Yes. Tell me. Yes, Marita.
The reproductive part of the plant is the flower.
Very good. Plant is a reproductive part of the flower. That's true.
Sir, they are modified leaves.
Exactly. Very good. They are the modified leaf. So if combine the definition from both of you, that is a perfect answer. Basically, the plant, the flower is a reproductive organ of a plant. When a plant reaches at its maturity, when it have to start the reproduction, it modify leaf into a special kind of the structure. These are called reproductive structure, and these reproductive structure are a flower. So basically, the pistil, stamen, petals, sepals, they all are the modification of the leaf. So the part of flower, try to understand these structure terminology. So first come to the lowermost part. So this part is called basically receptacle. Receptacle is also known as the thalamus, right? It is also called thalamus. So receptacle or thalamus is that part that hold all the reproductive part of flower. Part of flower. Basically, it is a platform where all the reproductive flower part are found, right? This outermost world is called sepal, right? Sepal protect the bud. Sepal protect the it for the bud stage, right? And the whorl of sepal means group of the sepal, because the single this green color leaf is called sepal, right? But sepal have the number of the sepals. There may be 4, 5, 6, or 8 or 10 sepals. So these sepals they protect when the flower is at the bud stage. The whorl of these sepals is known as the calyx, right? And be represented with the help of capital K, right? So this is called calyx. First important thing which we need to understand. Then the second structure or second whorl is called petals. So petals are responsible for pollination. Generally, they are the colored, right? And the colored petal they attract the insect and which help in the pollination. The whorl of petal is known as the corolla, and we represent by the C, right? Then it comes to the stamen part, right? Stamen, this is the stamen. Stamen is divided two parts, filament and anther. We have studied it in detail at the plant reproduction part, right? So we need not to discuss over here that much deeply. Then there is a female part. Female part is known as the pistil. Pistil is also known as the gynoecium, right? So male part or the stamen part, this is called androecium. This part called androecium. And here the female or pistil part is called gynoecium. We represent it for G, right? G represent the ovary, right? This pistil, the topmost part is called a stigma. Then there is a pipeline that is called a style. Then there is a pollen germinate over here and formation of pollen take place. So this is the ovule and this is the ovary. So ovary bear number of the ovule. There may be single ovule or more than one ovule, right? So these are the part of the flower. Clear? So this was just
Yes,
a
sir.
general information, right? It was just general information, which is required to understand the family. Now, what is the calyx and how many type of the calyx can be? Calyx is a group of sepals. I have already told you. Try to understand. I want your 100% focus over here. Calyx is represented by K that I have already told you, and it is a group of sepals, right? So look, calyx may be of two types. We represent the calyx with the help of this triangular structure. So calyx is represented like this way. In floral diagram, right? This is the symbol in floral. This triangular structure, right? It represents one calyx, right? It is symbol in floral diagram. Right? So this is the symbol of calyx, right? It represented by the K. They may be gamosepalous or polysepalous. Gamosepalous means all calyx are united. They are jointed with each other. So the calyx are fused, we call them gamosepalous. So suppose that in this floral diagram, I have made the four calyx, right? They are the four calyx. These all four calyx are fused with each other. So we will call it four calyx and gamosepalous, right? So in gamosepalous, I will make K, I will write it on the four, and four will be closed in the bracket. How I will read? I will call calyx 4 gamosepalous, right? Means all the sepals are, right? This is gamosepalous. Then there is a polysepalous condition. Polysepalous condition, calyx are free. Here I will make K and suffix I will write 4, and all calyx will be free from each other. So calyx may be of two types, gamosepalous or polysepalous. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Corolla. Corolla means group of the petal is called corolla. So look, corolla that is represented by C. Corolla may be two types, gamopetalous and polypetalous. In gamopetalous condition, the petals are fused. Corolla, 5, and they are gamopetalous condition. Or the petals are fused with each other, right? In polypetalous condition, the petals are free from each other, right? C, 5, they are free from each other, right? And so here we will study, here we will read that, and one more thing, the corolla is not represented by that triangular structure, right? So symbol will be, this is the, it will be crescent shape. Right? So that's how we will represent this crescent type. This is the floral diagram structure. Right? Crescent shape structure. So corolla 5, gamopetalous, here corolla 5, polypetalous. So estivation is arrangement of sepals or petals, right? That is called estivation. There can be 5 arrangement of sepal or petal, right? Look, this structure when the flower is like this way, this is called volvate. In volvate, the margin of the petal or sepal will be face to face, like this condition. This is called volvate. In twisted condition, what will happen? One margin will be covered and another margin will be free from this one, right? It will ride on another. Look, one margin will be covered and another margin will be free from this one, right? Again, so this kind of distribution is called twisted, right? One margin will be covered, another one override. Then there is a imbricate. In imbricate, the one petal will have its margin, both of the margin will be covered. In one petal, both of the margin will be free, and the rest free will be in twisted estivation. So this kind of the estivation is called imbricate. Quinquential. In quinquential, two petal or sepal, their margin will be covered. Two sepal or petal, their margin will be free, and the rest will be in twisted form. Very special kind of the estivation is called vexillary estivation. It is found in P, Papilionidea family. Pulses flower look like this one only, right? Pulses flower look like this one only. There will be one standard that will be free, two wings that will be free in twisted form, and there will be two petals will be fused to gamo. So if there it is written that corolla 1 plus 2 plus 2 gamo, it means there is a floral estivation is vexillary, right? And try to understand, this can be asked, this have been asked twice or thrice. I have seen this question. The first, there will be the uppermost will be called, uppermost petal will be or sepal will be called standard. Then the second one will be called wings, and the third one will be called keel. Keel remains always fused. Tell me, guys, if you have any doubt in estivation. Samaira, is it clear? Sania, Anna?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Clear, Anna?
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. Iram? Iram, is that clear?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
very good. So, next one is androecium. The next word is of androecium. Look, androecium is, that is the, androecium is represented like this in floral diagram. Symbol in floral diagram. So if there is a symbol like this way, so this stick represents that they are fused with petal or sepal. Petal or sepals. And this condition is called uh, epipetalous or episepal. Right. So androsium, that is a group of stamen is called androsium. And estaminode, if this is written estaminode means sterile stamen, means they are not fertile. Right. Androsium can be of two types, polyandrous or gamoandrous. In polyandrous, all androsium remains free. Right. So here how I will write, there are total 8 androsium. So I will write A8. Right. So androsium 8 and I will read polyandrous. Then there is a gamoandrous. Gamoandrous means androsium or fused. So there are 3 patterns where androsium can be fused. In one pattern, all the base of the androsium get fused and make a pipe-like structure. All the stamen fuse in one bundle. That is called monoadelphous situation, right? Like in hibiscus. You can see this in hibiscus. You can see in hibiscus. So androsium 9 and they are fused. Then there is a condition called diadelphous condition. Diadelphous condition is that where androsium remains arranged in the two group and stamens are fused in the two bundle. So suppose that there are 6 androsium, 3 in one bunch and 3 in one bunch. So how I will write androsium 3 plus 3 gamo, right? That's how I will write. This is diadelphous condition. So 3 3 there are two group of 3, right? Then polyadelphous condition. Stamens are fused and stamens are fused in more than 2 bundles. So this is called polyadelphous condition. Androsium 3 plus 3 plus 3 gamma. Right. That's how I will read. So androsium can be monodelphous, diadelphous, and polyadelphous. Tell me, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Gynosium. Now it comes to the ovary. The symbol of gynosium is G, and G is the group of the pistil. Gynosium can be two types, apocarpus and syncarpus. In apocarpus, the gynosium are free from each other, right? So this flower contains 3 gynosium, but all these 3 are free from each other. So I will write gynosium 3, uh, gynosium 3, apocarpus, right? And if the base means ovary part will be fused, and we will write down that the gynosium are fused means G3 syncarpus, right? The syncarpus means fused gynosium. Now look, what is here? They are on the basis of the position of ovary. On the basis of position of ovary, further it can be divided into 3 categories. First, hypogynous. Hypogynous is situation. This is technically called ovary superior. Here is a single ovary, but ovary is above to the position of petals, stamen, and sepal. Ovary is at top, and the rest organ of the flower they are the below the ovary. So this is called ovary superior position. And I will write it down like this way: gynosium 1, ovary superior, right? Then here you can see that perigynous situation. Perigynous situation where uh, petals, sepals, and stamen they all are above to the ovary. So this is called gynosium. Sorry, in perigynous they are at the equal stage. Uh, Sepals, petals, and ovary they are equal stage. So we will write that that is called perigynous condition. Gynosium 1, perigynous, right? In epigynous situation, what happened? Ovary is at the inferior position. All the sepals, petal, and stamen are at the superior position. This is called ovary inferior, and this the review like gynosium 1, ovary inferior. So this is about the gynosium. Tell me. Clear?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Placentation, that is also very important. Placentation is that the arrangement of ovule in the ovary, right? Arrangement of ovule inside the ovary. That is called placentation. Look, in marginal placentation, all ovule will be arranged in the margin, right? That is, this is the ovary, and all ovules are arranged in the margin, right? In axial placentation, all ovule will arrange into axis, right? But this will be separated by the septa. This is called septa. With the help of septa, it is separated into three different chambers. This kind of the placentation ovary, you must have cut down the lady finger and seen this kind of the structure, right? So that is axial placentation. You must have seen in tomato. Cut down the tomato, you will see this kind of the structure. So that is axial placentation. You must have seen in the orange, axial placentation, right? Now again, there are certain structure where you will find this kind of the structure, right? Like capsicum, you will find there is a no septa, but all the ovules are arranged, means all the seeds are arranged at the center, right? This is called pre-central placentation, right? So it resemble with the axial. The only difference between the axial and pre-central, in axial there are the septa and ovary is divided into different chamber, but in pre-central the ovary is not divided into the chamber. Parietal placentation. In parietal placentation, what will happen? The ovule will be found at the peripheral part. Like you must have seen in the papaya, the seed remains attached or remains adhere with the outermost surface. That is called parietal placentation. Last but not the least, basal placentation. In basal placentation, the ovules, single ovule is found and it is found in the base part. This is seen in the maize, Gia maize. Is that presentation clear?
Yes, sir.
Now come to the first family. The first family is called Fabaceae. Nowadays we call it Fabaceae, but previously when I used to study, when I was at the your class, then it used officially. It was printed in the book Papilionidae. The older name is Papilionidae, but now the common name is nowadays that is Fabaceae. The subfamily Papilionidae have one subfamily that is called Leguminosae. It is the family of the pulses. All the pulses come under this subfamily Leguminosae. The formula of this one is, try to understand. Formula is zygomorphic, means there is a bilateral symmetry. It can be cut if it can be cut through into two equal parts from single plane, not more than one plane. So with this the symbol, this percentage symbol called zygomorphic, right? Zygomorphic. So bilateral symmetry. Now bisexual, both androcium, this is the androcium and this is the androcium, this is the gynocium. Both sex organ are present. So zygomorphic, bisexual. Now there are 5 calyx. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and all 5 are united. So calyx 5, gamo. Again, the corolla 1 plus 2 plus 2. What is the estimation? 1 plus 2 plus 2 gamo. What is estimation? Standard, wings and keel. Vexillary estimation. So corolla, look, 1 free.
Auxiliary.
Vexillary, right? So this is 1 free. Then there are 2 free and 2 gamo. So 1 plus 2 plus 2 gamo. Again, androcium are in 2 group. Androcium 9 in 1 group and single in 1 group, right? Androcium 9 plus 1. What is the estimation? What is the arrangement of androcium? Type of androcium? Diadelphous. Yes? Androcium are in 2 group. Diadelphous, right? Now again, gynocium 1 and ovary superior, right? And you know there is only one ovule, and from here I can say that this is the basal placentation. So from the floral diagram you can tell a lots of characteristics. Placenta in marginal, whatever written over here, that you have to cram. I have not written even a single point which is not required for your medical exam. I have written only important points, so you have to cram everything which is written in this picture. Marginal presentation, fruits are legume. Economic important, all the pulses like gram, moong, arhar, and soybean come under this Fabaceae family. Dye, indigo come. This question have been asked. Indigo